and welcome to another snus review here at StiffUpperLip with me, Andreas. First of all, when I did a review of these ones, I had a pretty bad man cold. Right now, I would say probably that this one is a little bit too dry for me. I would not give it an 8 anymore, down a couple of notches on that one. So, Connie, if you're watching this, I know you're aware you want to put more moisture in this one. I don't think the fruitiness comes through quite as well as in this one. Gave that an 8.5. That might be a 9 now. So I think definitely not like half a point between these two. This to me is much better than this one. So if you're looking at buying these, I would personally definitely go with the original. Very good snus. So today we are looking at a snus that I'm really excited about. It's been sent by viewer Jonathan Murphy, so thank you very much, Jonathan. Can't believe I haven't got into this one yet, it just hasn't happened. It is Thunder 10 years anniversary edition. So why am I excited about this? Well, first of all, I thought it was sold out by now, but I just checked, and if you're in Sweden, you can still get it at snusbolaget.se. Top Snus also selling it for you outside of Sweden. So if it's any good, you can grab it from there. Now, Thunder products made by V2 Tobacco. I've reviewed a few of them. You know, they have their quite flavored snuses. They're all strong, extra strong or ultra strong. They do the frosted range of mint snuses. I've tried a raspberry one as well. I think they're okay, the flavored ones, but I haven't been blown away by any of them. They're sort of mid-range there. And then when it comes to tobacco-centric snus, which is normally my favorites, haven't liked them. The Thunder Extra Strong Original Loose, I didn't like at all. So this one is tobacco-flavored snus. Actually, this is really cool. It says here, single barrel tobacco aged in oak casks. On the back it says, tobacco aged in oak casks, water. No additional flavoring whatsoever in this one, which I don't think I've seen in any other snus. So that's really interesting. So I've heard good things about it. It'd be really interesting to see how it compares to their so-called tobacco-centric flavors in the other products, which I have not been that keen on. So in this instance, I think we're looking at 22 portions. The portions should be 0.9 grams, and it is sort of an ultra strong snus. It should be around 18 milligrams per portion. So it's pretty high. So they get that sort of naturally up from the tobacco. And the tobacco they use is from the Arapiraca, something like that, region of Brazil. And it's the Mata Fina, which is one of the oldest sort of tobacco seeds in the world. It was exported already around 1570, I believe. And they also, I've read that it should be fermented, like a Perique fermentation. So I don't know if they do use, I think they use some Brazilian Perique in this one. So the Hope and Glory had Perique. I think this has some Perique as well. So I don't know where it is in the sort of nitrosamine levels or anything like that, or how much they use. But the fermentation is happening in oak barrels. So they sort of press the leaves and then put them on top of the first ones again, just keep pressing them. I think the whole process takes about 18 months. And they use oak barrels the same as they use in South American wines. So it's all quite exciting because this is a special edition by V2 Tobacco for the 10th anniversary. Very limited as well. I think they made like 1,000 rolls of this. So I'm surprised it's still available because it's not brand new now, but it's well within the best before date. The catch lid is normally quite small on V2 Tobacco on the Thunder range. Here you got a big one. It is a full price snus as well, which is unusual for them. So they are normally going, I mean, Thunder is a brand that you in Sweden, unless you're watching these reviews and seeing on the internet, you don't see them in a lot of stores, but they're really big on the export market. You can find them online. So yeah, let's get into this one really. Should be a traditional sort of, well, full-on tobacco flavor, which is what I really like. But I haven't liked the tobacco-centric ones before, so we'll see. Oh, a little bit tricky to get into, but not too bad. Well, there you go. That's why it was tricky. Okay. There you go. And I believe the Matafina is a sort of a dark cigar tobacco. And it certainly looks dark. The portions are looking like that. Really nice looking portions, quite well filled. Normally Thunder products are really moist, I believe. Yeah, pretty moist, but not as moist as something like the raspberry. That's crazy. And here we go, smell. It's a completely different animal to the loose, the extra strong Thunder. It's got the same name, the Thunder range, which is still strong. That's unique. That's really good. Well done on the smell, V2. I'm impressed already. Oh, it has a really deep, satisfying tobacco smell. Not unlike cigars. Wow. That smells really good. Really complex, very deep, very natural, no off aromas, which you do get in the loose, I promise you that. Completely different. Let's try the whole can here, and if it's as good as the smell, then you need to start making these products instead. Okay, I'll be back with you when I finish the can. You might think that this is not going to taste of anything because there's no flavoring added. I tell you, it's the boldest tobacco-centric snus I have ever tried. A couple of other ones that are close would be Crafted Cardus and the Isla Whiskey Loose. And when I spoke to Connie earlier this year in one of my videos, he's saying that if you're used to drinking lagers and then you start drinking IPAs, it might be a little bit too much for you. And in the same way, if you start using all lamina snus, you take away the leaf stalk, it might be too bitter or too much for you. Now, I don't know if this is all lamina, but I would be very surprised if it isn't, because it does not taste like they've taken away a lot of the flavor at all. Connie is also mentioning that anything fermented tastes more, and that's what you definitely get with this. It's a really bold flavor from the fermentation, really raw, bold, full-on tobacco, like a cigar really. And I read about the Matafina tobacco that it should have like a roundness to it, some chocolate notes, and a little bit syrupy and creamy. And yeah, it's not mellow, but it is a little bit rounded, but on a sort of amped level. So it's good you don't get that sort of biting bitterness or rawness to it. It's still like a raw, full-on tobacco, but with a real bit of rounded notes in there. Chocolate, yeah, I get a little bit maybe, but it's not really about that for me. It's more oaky from the barrel aging there. You get woodiness, and one thing I really get is quite concentrated raisiny taste, like dates almost. I wonder if that's from the South American wine barrels they're using. I don't know if that comes through a little bit in there, but it's so bold, so it's got to be from the fermentation process really in the tobacco itself, that sort of syrupy note. So there's a sweetness to it because of that, and you don't get like a lot of saltiness or anything like that. So it's still a pure, raw, but a little bit rounded tobacco flavor that has that sort of dark, dried fruits in it from like a raisin, and that can be a little bit overbearing. I must say, it's like if you're used to drinking Guinness and think that's heavy, and then you start drinking an imperial stout, then after a while you think Guinness is quite watery, and this is like the imperial stouts of the tobacco-centric snuses really, full on. The taste delivers a lot. It's not incredibly moist, but you know, it's bold. Almost too bold, like even for me. Maybe in a few years' time I'll get used to these crafted snoozes more. Personally, I would like to see a little bit toned down, maybe with some alternative sort of nuance of something else in there would be nice. But for the pure quality of the tobacco, you could argue that this is even better than the ettan portion. Although I think I would use ettan more because it's more like an all-day use snus for me. This one is heavy, and I could probably only use it occasionally, at least for now, because this is not something we're used to in the snus world. It's like a fine cigar right in there, without that smoke that comes down in the lungs, but you do get a little bit of smokiness in there as well. Nicotine-wise, it's quite high, but I don't feel like it's an ultra strong like it should be. But you know, it's got nicotine there from the tobacco leaves for sure. So incredibly well done, V2. I don't think you're making any profit on this. You're just trying to make the very best snus you can. If you can incorporate this in any way in other snoozes and make some sort of nuanced flavors and tweak the taste profile a little bit, you will have some of the very, very best snoozes on the market. And this is one of the very, very best snoozes on the market. Rating wise, if anyone would say it's not great, it's less than 8, I would argue with that. If you would say it's 9, 9.5, I would say, yeah, sure, it's that good in pure tobacco quality. You could say it's ettan or better because it's just so full on. For me, I prefer ettan to this to use, but it's amazing. I'm gonna be, this is not even being kind, I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10. I think that's in the lower range of what it deserves. It's amazing, really. It's just a one-off. It's very unique, but very overpowering sometimes, full on. So big thank you, Jonathan Murphy. This has been a real treat, and really well done, V2. This is by miles the best snus I've tried from you, and I would love to see some more in the future. Hopefully you can make it slightly more mass market and make a profit on it as well, potentially. So great snus. If you like tobacco-centric snoozes, this is one that you can't miss, and it's still for sale, so get it. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys, once again, and I'll see you next weekend for another review. Bye.